Now, when it comes to say why Dharma works, obviously when we try something, this is why we first learn, we hear, we meditate, and teaching, or there has to be some learning, some form of sharing of a transmission of wisdom in a particular form, whether a book or a person or whatever it is that one receives, because there's many signs. There's also other things that don't even require that, but for the majority, we can hear a song or an audiobook or a live talk or the experience of another person, or we can listen to ourselves too. But it works, for example, in this last Zoom session that I had, and I'm gonna keep the privacy, so because there's so many gatherings in Zoom, it's just being respectful. If I just say I was in a gathering and there was a Russian person that was from Russia and had Russian family, and he was doing all this incredible work, this constant work to support Ukraine, because he's been studying about equanimity and how we all are one, where there's no separation, and where loved ones and unknown ones and people that we kind of know and not know very well, they all are as valuable as all the other ones, as ourselves. And he was struggling because he wanted to know methods that could help him live equanimity, because all the actions that he was doing is because he was feeling that they were good actions, and they were very, I guess, black or white, where you have to say, yes, this is good, this is bad. And he was struggling, and it was so beautiful to see the support that the group gave to this person, and how they wanted to listen more, and how they wanted to really understand what he was talking, because he first started being somewhat more vague about what his conflict was, his struggle, what his heartfelt frustration and pain was being. And it was just so beautiful to hear so many people give him methods, medicines, nectar of wisdom, and pearls and jewels, and it's just incredible support and love and compassion and real listening from the heart. And every time he would still kind of get some good off of it, you could tell that he appreciated the responses, and yet still had something heavy, I do not know, because I don't read minds, However, it was so beautiful to see this Ukrainian woman, that young woman, this person was young as well, and so it was just so beautiful to see these young adults having this beautiful, loving conversation. And she just started saying how much inspired she was about how he was being so active in bringing peace into this world, into society, into what he sees and experiences, into his family, himself. And it was just incredibly heartwarming to see how can one person support another in that way. And she was just telling her, look, here we are. Everybody says that All Ukrainians hate Russians, all Russians hate Ukrainians, and here we are, us both, sitting together next to each other, inspiring each other. That's why the Dharma works for me. That's why that medicine is something that it's my duty to share it. It's part of my experience. It has helped me tremendous. And if I die and if I don't leave an account of how powerful this medicine was for me, then I'm not being respectful of this tradition, because this tradition is a tradition of realization. And I'm not saying that I am realized, but it's that you need to realize the things that you are studying. And so that's why there has to be some learning, and then there's some contemplation. And one contemplates, is this true or not? Is there a cause and an effect? Have I seen it in my life? And one starts seeing that, yeah, one actually thinks that is creating happiness, but then we create a lot of causes for suffering because we didn't know how things work. But then when you get to see, and this is why it's good to forgive ourselves and our mistakes, because then it helps us forgive others' mistakes, because we all have done mistakes, and that's also part of how we learn. But we don't also need to do all mistakes, so we can learn from one another. And also there's all different levels of growth and consciousness. So there's some people that still are very hard to see certain things that make no sense in their lives. Like when you are hungry all day for all week and you're having war and you're seeing all these things, can you imagine like a person like that doing a loving kindness meditation or something like that? Like, would be very difficult, right? Because those states are characterized by so much pain. There's so much pain and suffering, and this is why the Buddha said a first truth, because it is truth. If we look at the world, there is so much suffering. We all have suffered so much. And if the Buddha would have come and say, oh yeah, like everything is suffering and it sucks and sorry, we would have been like, what? What in the world if this person comes and tells us this to depress us? But he didn't just say, okay, there's some dissatisfaction, because there's also people that have everything and they're still not fully happy. So there's scales, there's levels of suffering. There's some really strong sufferings, and there's some suffering, and then suffering light, and then some dissatisfactions and things subtler, right? Like the weather, it's always changing. And he didn't leave it there. He actually came and say, you know what, there is a cause to this suffering. There's why suffering happens. And so when he discovered that there was a cause for the suffering, and there was suffering, then he went to try to find the origin, the root cause, the beginning of this suffering, and take that away. So that way, he came and gave us the third truth, which says that suffering, this dissatisfaction, can be stopped, has an end. It's not eternal. It's not forever. And that's the greatest truth that he came and shared with us. That it's like, hey, I know you're having a hard time, but look, he gave us the fourth truth, the Eightfold Noble Path, which basically is just a roadmap, just like you have a GPS to go from here to there. There is this 8 guidelines. It's very clear, very systematic. And I don't know if I remember them correctly, but it starts with the right view. How you see things, what do you think about things? For example, if one has the view that everything sucks, then it does. But if one has a view that everything is pure or everything is interconnected and that there is cause and effect, then that view leads one to think a certain way and say certain things. So this is another path of it, is the right speech. So there's a right view, there's a right speech, what one talks, one says, one speaks with the truth, one says only what's necessary, doesn't gossip or talk bad about people, bad mouthing here, bad mouthing there. Like one abandons those type of behaviors, and one tries it, and then one realizes that there is so much happiness in existence when you bring people together with your speech, when you use your voice, when we're using our voice, and we are thinking, how can the tone, how can the way I say things make this person happy? That in itself is such a great thing, because tone tells so much more than words. I just today a person say I love you, and the energy behind that, it was just not that. So there's people that might say something, but the meaning is completely different. So that's why the tone is very important. So the intention, all starts with the view. So if we have the right intention when we speak, then we will speak in a way that is not going to harm others naturally. This is basically, if we resume the Eighth Noble Path into 3, is not harming, doing good, and changing our mind, realizing the truth, developing our good qualities, taking away the ignorance. So we say the right thing, then we do the right thing, and that's the third one, is right action. We do that which protects life, which brings goodness to the world. We're not harming others, making weapons and killing people. We're making tools and creating things. We're making songs, we're making poetry, we're making art, we're making sculptures, we're making huge buildings where magic happens. We're building the future here, now, with every thought, with every word, with everything that we think. Ultimately, everything that exists in reality has been a thought before. And so with the way we think, we create the world. So that's why there's the right view, the right speech, the right action, and then comes the right livelihood. How we live is how we die. In reality, the things that we do transcend time and space and just go beyond anything that we could have ever thought, because everything ripples into eternity. And this is why it's so important to create the right causes, because if we don't create the right causes, then we could be lost in pain and sorrow and suffering and ignorance and hatred. Like, just think about how when people fight, or when there's these conflicts that have been generational, that have been forever, that have been so long, just because some grandpas long ago said, one person said this and the other understood this, and then somebody came and killed this one person and it killed the other, and then they just kept killing each other, and it just grows. That's how wars get started, by a single thought, a single misknowing that we are all one. And with one of those thoughts, with one of those afflictions, we can create a lot of suffering, but in the same time, we can create so much change if we apply putting a right view, saying the right things, doing the right thing, having a career or a vocation or a trade, whatever it is that you like, that you love, that you can do, because ultimately everything that we do helps others. I do this audios, these videos, this content, this poetry, this art, whatever it is that I am making, I am not making it for myself just so I can listen to myself, which in a way I do because I need to express things clearly and not in a way that is wasteful of somebody's time, right? Some time is so precious. And so for me, if I speak clearly, if I speak things that are good, that if you listen might benefit you, then that's the whole point why I do this, is because I have received so much benefit, so much kindness, so much blessing, so much medicine of this Dharma that has changed my life in such a tremendous way that, again, it's my duty, it's my responsibility, it's something that I love with all my heart. And I have been doing it for so long, and it's so integrated in all my parts of my life. And I am way far from being perfect. I have so many things that I have to still work on, but that's okay. I love myself with all my defects. That's okay. That's enough. That's plenty. That's perfect, because I am here now, and I will not always be here. And we, again, all have different grades of light to dark, right? And ultimately, we will all wake up, and everybody will evolve, and we are just evolving at such a high speed now, and technology is helping us out with that process. But we are all just interconnected and part of this great thing. And so, yeah, we see a lot of stuff that's painful. Yet again, is part of however things work. I don't know how they started. I don't know how they're gonna go, but definitely I know in my own life that by integrating my own shadows, it has helped me to be more loving to myself, and hence be loving with others. If I forgive myself, then I can forgive others better. It's like this self-love, this self-forgiveness is something new for me. It's something that I'm learning, and I've been learning like the last, I don't know, maybe a year or something like that around. Or, it's so easy for me was to understand that helping others was a cause of goodness, that I've dedicated a lot of what I can and the best of my ability to try to do things that are helpful, that are good, that are well done. So then it could be the cause for the awakening of all beings. So then it could bring merit to this world, so it can bring clarity, so it can bring light. Yet again, that's the only thing we can do, is have a pure intention and do it with all our heart. And in this case, we have the right livelihood, and now we go to the right effort. And so this is in line with where we're talking, because when we love what we do, we put a lot of effort to it, and it's no longer an effort because it's a joy to do what you love. And so that's why one can do it for so long and so consistently, because who doesn't want to see everybody else happy? Who doesn't want to be happy? Everybody wants to be happy. And when people are happy and they see others happy, it's such a joy. So absolutely, one puts in enough effort, and then it becomes the right mindfulness. So then we watch what we think, what we say, and whenever we see what we are doing and saying, and we can help it, so it creates a better existence, and ultimately is the right concentration. This last one, right? So when we have put enough effort into being mindful, then we can concentrate, and being concentrated, we are able to leave away distractions that are not good for our state of mind, and we can just be single-pointedly in a state of awareness, meditation. In that state, we can be happy and blissful, because we no longer have pain. This is the path, right? This is what was taught, By doing that, we can free ourselves of pain by being mindful completely. So I hope this video find you well, happy, and that it may leave you even more happier and more healthier and more wealthier and more full of joy and inspiration, and that you see how beautiful and amazing and unique and divine and creative and powerful and just fun to be around. You are one of a kind. There is nobody like you, will never be. You are the one, the only. That's it. So I love you. Thank you very much. May any merit generated in this video, in this audio, in this text, whatever form, be of infinite benefit to all beings, so all beings become Buddhas in this very lifetime, in this very moment. So may all war stop, so may all peace reign the world with love and joy and compassion and integrity and honor and wisdom and joy. Oh.